Hey all, this is JT with Center Stage Magazine, and I'm sitting here live with Jeff Scott Soto from the band Soto. We're at the Hard Rock Cafe tonight, and he's out touring with his band Soto on their sophomore effort. And Jeff, how's it going, aside from being a little bit sick?
Yeah, well, I mean, this was it started out basically as a warm-up for the Monsters of Rock cruise, because as this lineup, I mean, I've been with these guys for about 6 years now. We've never played any of the Soto material together, so you can rehearse until the cows come home. As anybody knows, in any art, you can stare at yourself in the mirror, get all the moves, make sure you're polished. As soon as you get in front of people, everything changes. So the whole design of this little run was to get everybody kind of geared up and ready for the ship. So when we're in front of thousands, we're ready to do this stuff. It's going great.
Very cool. I guess on the ship you're doing the Ingves as well?
Yeah, I got lured into that whole thing.
Who's all involved with that?
Oh, well, it's a bunch of people. Yeah, there's you'd have to look at the site to get all the names, but it's headed by my old guitar player, Howie Simon, who's actually played with Alcatraz, and one of the main reasons why we even hooked up in the first place back in the early 2000s is because he could play all that Ingve stuff like a ring in the bell, you know. You didn't even know it wasn't Ingve. He was that good and that close to playing all those solos, so he's great with that stuff, and that's why we're doing this thing.
Very cool. So what made you decide to go with promoting the band as Soto instead of just being the solo effort under the name Jeff Scott Soto?
Well, the first album it started as a solo album, but the manager I was working with at the time thought it was too heavy and too band sounding, too band oriented. He said, "I can't sell this as a solo project. It sounds too much like a band. I think you should name it, put a name behind it." And I thought about it, and with all the 3 decades of names and projects I've been involved with, I didn't want to throw yet another one in the hat. He said, "Keep it simple. Use your last name." Dio did it, Winger did it, Dawkins, all the way down the line. You got people in the band that use the name and identifies with that person, but it's still a band. It's branded as a band. So I thought it was a brilliant idea, and obviously the crossover is really slow because even some of these gigs, people are booking it as Jeff Scott Soto. So we're trying to educate.
Yeah, that's cool. The guys in your band, you just said you've been with them for about 6 years, and I see they're from all over the place. How did you guys actually come to meet?
My keyboard/guitar player and drummer from Brazil. The first time I played there in 2001, I believe. They brought me out just as a featured artist without my band, and they were in the backup band that I was using for the shows that we were doing. And then every year after that, when I did go back to Brazil with my band, their band would be opening for us because we became such good friends and we had such a great camaraderie. But in 2009, when I was making the shift from my last lineup of my solo band to the new one, I asked these guys to join it because most of my tours are in Europe and South America, so I wanted to have European and Brazilian tie lines. So obviously it saves on cost, but for the most part, they're extremely talented, and everything that they offer to what I'm doing has been such a blessing. So, of course, I could take the easy way out and get everybody from LA. There's tons of musicians there, but it was tailored and designed based on the people that I was hanging out with when I was touring overseas.
Very good. Let me just move here for 1 second on a different shift. Knowing that you're a family man as well, and you're hitting these tours, you're gone for periods of time. How's that work out with your family, man?
It's tough. It's tough with anybody that has to deal with it, especially because I just came off a 2-month tour with Trans-Siberian Orchestra, as I normally do around the Christmas time. And then 6 days later, I had to go to Sweden for 10 days, back home for maybe less than a month, and then I'm back on the road here, and we have a lot more coming up. So yeah, it's a strain. And you learn how to cope and deal with it, but through the years you kind of get calloused to the fact that you know it's coming up. So you expect it and you learn how to deal with it.
Right. And so you have a Talisman reunion coming up?
We got yet another one. We got asked to do something for our former label, and officially they're still our label. We're still, option-wise, we're still signed to them. If we decide to ever regroup and do an album, they have the right to release the album. So they're doing their annual festival now, and they had an idea to bring us out there and recreate what we did 2 years ago at Sweden Rock Festival. So the guys were all free, and I said I'm all for it.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's something I wish I could attend. That would be.
Yeah.
Talisman was one of my favorite bands.
Oh, thank you,
Growing
man.
up, no doubt, man. I mean, everything you've done has been so stellar and just top notch.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Monsters of Rock. Who's on that? Some good bands this year?
Oh my God, who's not on it is more the question.
I hit it the inaugural year, man. I think it was 2012, and it was
chock full.
It was a good time.
Yeah, it still is. I mean, these guys, the organizers, really know how to fill that ship up with the right bands, and even Soto's not necessarily traditionally in that vein. You know, mostly it's classic rock. It's veteran bands and such. I'm a veteran artist, but Soto's a new band.
Right.
So it was actually my idea. I went to them because we're doing 2 sets on the boat, 2 different days.
Oh, cool.
I said, why don't we do 1 set Soto and 1 set the JSS thing? So that way we have 2 completely different sets, and we have something a little different instead of doing the same set twice.
Cool. So how's the tour been going so far?
It's been great. Aside of being a little sick, it's a lot of miles, but it's pretty smooth.
So what can people expect from the Devoc album that's due out here?
The first one has actually said it right. It's aside of it being an extension of the first album, it certainly does take us to other places. I didn't want to just repeat what we did, and because we turned it around so quickly after the first album, I wanted it to be stronger, which I think it is personally. I feel from bottom to end is not a weak track, and my whole deal was just keep striking them. Just when one is falling out, hit them with another one, because I don't want people to forget about it. Let them keep seeing it and talking about it, and just by familiarity, we'll get people kind of lured in, at least talking about it. If they're not going to actually listen to it.
Well, I know at Center Stage, we'll do what we can to help promote you guys, man,
Right
help
on.
promote the CD. That's what we're about, man, trying to get that, you know what I mean, the names that need to be out there, we're
Right.
trying to get them out there, man.
Awesome.
You know, instead of tackling the same artists over and over and over, you know what I mean, we want to help out with, you know.
That's been my own home, my own, the USA has been my toughest market. It's, I mean, I'll be lucky if we have 80, 100 people, even that. Maybe it's a Monday night, we just long weekend. There might even be 40, I don't know. And that's one of the reasons why not only testing the market, aside of the warm-up shows thing, but it kind of gives me an indication that we have a lot of work before we come back, or we can come back sooner than I thought.
Well, very good, man. I won't keep you any longer. I know you're not feeling well. I know you got some sound checking to do, and I really appreciate your time.
Right on,
and,
awesome.
rock on, man. Can't wait to see the show.
Awesome.